Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a Christmas DIY and it's in collaboration with Sue at Discovering the Art of Living. It's her YouTube channel. And this collaboration is a Christmas movie themed with a Christmas carol being featured. And please, after watching my video, please follow the hashtag and view the playlist of all the wonderful participants. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first thing, we're all familiar with the movie A Christmas Carol, and so I decided to focus on the three ghosts that visit Ebenezer Scrooge. And so I'm going to first go in with some white chalk paint and get them all painted white because ghosts are white, right? Well, they're white, but I'm thinking these ghosts here, if I remember correctly, they were kind of spooky looking. So I'm going to go in with some black chalk paint and I'm going to very lightly dry brush all the edges that go around the whole ghost and also on the inside as well. And I'll actually go a little bit heavier handed with the ghost that represents Christmas past, just to make them a little bit different. So I just dry brush, and then I also go ahead and paint the base black as well with the same chalk paint. So in the movie, like I mentioned, there were three ghosts that visited Ebenezer Scrooge. And so the first ghost was the ghost of Christmas past. The second ghost was the present Christmas at the time. And the last ghost was the ghost of Christmases yet to come. So I decided to give them each a clock to represent that time period. So the clocks are going to be looking different. One's going to be looking very ancient, one's going to be looking a little bit newer, and then the modern one will be the Christmases yet to come. And by the way, these little ghosts I happen to have on hand from the Dollar Tree because I had purchased them to do a DIY and I never did. So thankfully I had them on hand, and look, they came in handy. So good deal. Okay, so I'm taking these lids that I had left over from our guacamole. My husband and I, we love guacamole, and so I'm going to go in with the same chalk paint and paint them white. So I went ahead and painted both sides because I don't want the label to peek through. And here are the three clock faces that I printed out. So I searched on Google for clock faces, and so I chose these three, and I just printed them out on regular paper. And I chose these three because one looks pretty old with Roman numerals, one looks still a little old but it's got numbers, and then this one here is the more modern one. So these will be the three clock faces that I'll be using for my DIY. See this one here with the Roman numerals? This one definitely has to be Christmas past. Definitely. And of course the one with the actual numbers, the more modern one, that's definitely Christmas is yet to come, and then the other one for the present. So I think they're really cute. So those are my choices. Okay, so now here I'm going to trim off the excess so I can get them to fit in my guacamole lids. Yes, we eat a lot of guacamole. We actually eat a lot of avocados, but when avocados are not ripe, we switch over to guacamole. So that's the reason. So anyway, here I'm just trimming my pieces and putting my clock faces in my lids, my plastic lids that have come in very handy. I'm glad I didn't throw them out. But I really like the look of these clock faces. I think they are really, really nice. And I was very happy to find them, and I was amazed how they just fit perfectly in my little lids. I was like, wow, that's a score. So anyway, I just continue to trim off the excess because I want it to be nice and round so it'll fit in there as best as possible and just trim off any excess. And I just lay them in there while the paint's still wet to help hold it down. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of these garland ties from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to tie them up together to create a wreath, because they're supposed to be Christmas clocks. So I want them to look like Christmas. So I'm just going to take my handy little pliers and snip off the excess of the wired garland ties. And I'm just going to form 3 wreaths, all the same size to fit the lids. So there's going to be 3. So there's my 3. And now I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, they're looking a little bushy. So I'm going to give them a little haircut because I don't want them to be so bushy. I want them to have that look like they're a little bit better quality. And by the way, why not? Because Ebenezer Scrooge, he was rich, wasn't he? Got to make these wreaths nice. Got to trim them up. Give them a little haircut. Just snip, snip, snip. And so I just work it and just go around, snip off anything that's sticking out or any, wild hairs, so to speak. And just work on it until I get it looking cute. And I go ahead and do that to all 3 of my wreaths, my mini wreaths. And let me tell you, it makes a mess, big mess. Okay, so here they are all trimmed up, and already they're looking so much nicer. So here I'm taking some berry garland, the one in the green and white, and I'm going to twist and wrap this particular one around one of my wreaths just to give it a different look, and they're all going to have something different. I want all the wreaths to have a little bit of a different look since they're all from different time periods. And so for the second one, I'm taking some of this wired pine cone garland, and I'm going to wrap that around the second wreath and just kind of wrap it. I ended up using only 3 of the little pine cones themselves, but it was good enough. I think I was happy with the look with the 3 pine cones on it, so I stopped there and I was pretty happy with it. And then my third wreath, I decided to use a traditional red, so red berry garland. And so I snipped off some and twisted it around as well. The same method and pattern as the others. And this one's more of a traditional look. Okay, so here are my lids all ready to go, and I'm going to put some Mod Podge on the top of them just to seal up the paper, because it is just regular paper. And when you work with a Mod Podge on something that's printed, you got to work quickly and try not to brush. Don't brush too much, just brush as little as possible, because you'll start pulling the ink off. So it'll start looking a little bit, I don't know, dirty, cloudy, which I don't mind on the 2 older ones because it's supposed to be older clocks, so I don't even mind if it runs a little bit on the 2 older clocks, but definitely not my newer clock. My newer clock needs to look new. So here I'm taking some of my ribbon that I purchased at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make some quick little bows for each of the wreaths so they can each have a little bow, and they're each going to be different. So I do this red and black buffalo check bow, and I do this one for my more modern wreath. And so I'll just make it look real cute and put a little dab of glue and just press it on there. So that wreath is ready to go. And then for my pine cone one, I'll use a traditional solid red, and I'll make a quick little bow with that one. And so just quick little bow, nothing special, just a traditional little bow. I don't think they did anything fancy back then, not for the wreaths, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not a wreath specialist. So here's my cute little bow, just a traditional little red bow. And so I'm going to put a little dab of glue and glue it onto this pine cone wreath real quick. So that one's done. And for my last little wreath, I'm going to use this lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to make a cute little bow again. Nothing fancy. Just a real cute little lacy bow. I feel like this is pretty appropriate for that time. The look, the color. They used a lot of lace back then, so I thought, why not? And it's pretty. I think this kind of ribbon is beautiful. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue, a little dab of glue, and set it on there, and that's done. So all my 3 wreaths, mini wreaths, are complete and ready to be put together on their clock faces. Okay, so here I'm just going to add 4 quick little dabs of glue onto my little clock faces and add my mini wreaths. Get them to adhere nicely. And I'll do that to all 3 of them. And I don't know if you noticed on my first one, but I didn't put it on there correctly. Where is the 12? Yes, I guess I wasn't paying attention because the 12 is not in the right spot. So I do go back and fix that. But I didn't mess up on the other 2 because they have numbers. But yes, I do know how to read Roman numerals. But I guess at that moment, I don't know. I wasn't thinking. And I use my little tweezers to remove any of those annoying hot glue webs. That's a good little trick, good little hack. Okay, so here I'm gonna place it on properly, right at the 12 mark. Yay! Okay, so here are my 3 little ghosts, all nice and dry, ready to be put together. And so here is the clock for the past, for the present, and for the yet to come. So all I do is add a little dab of glue on the bottom of the lid and just place it on the base, and it fits perfectly. Oh my goodness. It's like this was made for that. You know how sometimes the universe just says yes. That was this moment. This was all good. So I just go ahead and get them all on there until I'm happy with their placement. And once they're secure and adhere, it's done. So here is my look. This is my A Christmas Carol DIY. And I don't even mind that the 2 older clocks are a little wrinkly. I guess that goes with the look. It's supposed to be old. So I'm fine with that as long as my more modern one is nice and fresh looking, which it is. So I'm happy with it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow the hashtag and watch the rest of the playlist and watch the participants. And until my next video, have a great day. Stay healthy, safe, and strong. Bye-bye.